What's up guys, Stephen Beaubrand here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is rest time between sets. So hey guys, hope everyone's having a wonderful Thursday. I hope you guys enjoy that Coach Steve shirt. You're the man, Steve! If you guys don't understand the reference, I definitely recommend you watch Big Mouth. It is about a bunch of kids going through puberty. It is freaking hilarious, not for the faint of heart. But, you know, I think obviously cartoons for adults have nothing to do with rest times in the gym. So let's get my shit together. Let's talk about it. Oh, yeah. So, you know, a lot of people are sort of strapped for time when it comes to getting to the gym, and we only have so much time to accomplish set exercises and things, right? So typically what a lot of people tend to try to do is to hit a lot of shorter rest times in, right? I want a minute of rest time. And I've seen this from other people's programming a million times. Set of 8, 60-second rest, set of 8, 60-second rest, set of 8, 60-second rest. Now, oddly enough, a lot of these people don't have any kind of weights programmed into their progressions. Or they don't have progressions at all. So let's talk about rest times between sets and why it's important. So typically, let's start off with the easy shit, right? Here's what I tell people. If you are on a higher rep set or something more like a hypertrophy or endurance-based workout, 1 to 3 minutes rest in between sets, okay? Now, say we're doing a set of, maybe we're doing a bench, right? I want 3 minutes in between that bench set. So if we do a bench and then we go superset something like maybe a lat pull down or a barbell row, maybe that's an acceptable thing. I probably wouldn't do a barbell row, but any kind of chest supported row or a bicep movement, something that is not an agonist muscle or that helps that bench press, right? If I bench and then do a tricep movement, well, my triceps help that bench out, right? The lats do too in terms of positioning and stance, but the triceps secondary muscle there. So I might not want to superset triceps in, but 1 to 3 minutes in between those sets. Now, if I'm doing heavier sets, I'm typically going like 3 to 5 minutes in between my sets before I go back to try another set, okay? So as intensity or the amount of weight, percentage of our 1RM increases, we're going to need more time for rest in between those sets if we're going to hit all of our numbers. A lot of the times what I saw before I went over, you know, rest timing with people is I wouldn't put rest times because I wanted them to rest as long as they needed to. But what I would typically see is they weren't resting long enough. So we would hit the first set just fine. The second set would be shaky. We wouldn't hit our reps on the third set. And if we had subsequent sets after that, we would continue to not hit our reps. And pretty much every time that I encountered this with a client, it was because of rest times. So if we look at the research, what does it say? Longer rest times actually facilitate that we can get in more volume. And based on a lot of the research, what we're going to show is that volume is our #1 determinant of progression in terms of hypertrophy and strength. So sometimes if we want to make that more progress or that better progress, a little bit of extra rest time may be helpful and beneficial to us. Reason being, it allows our body to restore the energy systems. So when we are weight training, right, we are using primarily creatine phosphate, adenosine triphosphate, or the phosphagen systems, right, and carbohydrates. That's the primary fuel substrates that we're going to be using during resistance training exercise. It's short, it's under 2 minutes, right? So it doesn't mean we're not using fat, right? We are still using fat. At all times, we are using all energy systems. However, the predominant determinant of that is going to be our body's ability to rephosphorylate those fast energy systems. And when we talk about lactic acid or lactate, to change that back into pyruvate, which is a normal end goal of the carbohydrate energy system, essentially. So yes, we need time in between sets for our bodies to help with that fatigue, right? Because we talk about lactate being a fatigue index, but it just needs time so that it can rephosphorylate and get the energy systems back in. Because remember, we are creating force. We have to have energy to create force. So if we're using our energy reserves to create force, we have to have some semblance of time to get those energy reserves back, to rebuild them a little bit so that we can have the energy reserves again to get through the sets. Now, if we are working super submaximally, that might be a different story, right? Maybe if we're doing a lot of endurance work, we're utilizing a higher percentage of fat, right? Simply because of the fact that like we're doing sets of 20, sets of 30, whatever it might be, right? And that at that point, we're not really working on a lot of strength. We're not really working on a lot of hypertrophy. At that point, we're working on endurance, and that's something else. But for any time that we're working hypertrophy or strength, we want to make sure that we have ample time to recover from each set. Think about each set as like a workout day. If I worked out legs and I squatted and I went pretty hard, I'm not going to go squat the next day. I might not squat the next day after that. I might take 2 full rest days. That's what I recommend. But, you know, I'm definitely not coming in the next day to come squat again. Think about your sets like that. We want to have ample time to recover from each individual set so that we can perform the next time we go in. Because if we can't perform, we overtrain. We lose performance. We lose strength, right? We get worse. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right kind of things to set ourselves up so that we're getting better. Now, if you don't have a lot of time in between, you know, life and kids and drive and all this other stuff, maybe we don't have a choice. Maybe we need to be doing some things to help speed up the process of our time in the gym. That's words. Okay, so maybe at this point, we need to be doing something like what I said earlier, supersetting, utilizing antagonistic muscle groups. Like maybe I'm going to do triceps, then I'm going to do a set of biceps, then maybe I'll do a set of traps, and I can rotate the 3. So I'm getting all 3 of those muscle groups in with my exercises, but I'm also giving each individual muscle group a little bit of, or adequate time to recover for the next set, okay? So it's one of those things where we have to be very aware of how our body responds. So if you guys are finding that you're missing sets or missing reps, anything of the sort, look at how long you're resting. Look at possibly increasing your rest time. That can be a huge determinant of making it through your sets at the correct weight and making it through your workouts, right? It can also help you to make better progress and to stay healthier. Because if we are fatigued going to heavy compound movements like bench press, squat, deadlift, right? That makes it a lot easier to get injured, okay? Things go wrong, something's off, like our reps aren't quite as crisp and clean. Technically, they're messy. That puts us in a really great place for injury. So not only can it help you to accumulate a little bit more volume so that you're making some more progress in terms of what your exercise routine is entailing, but it can also help keep you healthy, which should always be your #1 concern when you're in the gym. If you get injured and you are hurt, you are out of the gym, right? We're not doing any work. So not only is it going to help you get your volume in and hit all your reps and sets, it is also going to help you stay healthy, guys. So that's it for me on this Thursday. I hope you all have a wonderful one, and I'll talk to you soon.